When this man returned home to sort through his mother's belongings, a woman on the street caught his attention. The next day, she actually showed up at his door to strike up a conversation. During their first meeting, the woman Annie didn't know the man Paul. Paul was a famous writer whose best-selling novels had brought him both fame and fortune worldwide. 3 days earlier, he'd received news of his mother's death, and a lawyer asked him to return home to inherit the house. Having stayed away for years, he had a strained relationship with his mother, and his father had also disappeared without a word when Paul was 10 years old. Carrying resentment in his heart, Paul returned to his long-abandoned hometown. While he was sorting through things, a woman knocked on Paul's door. Annie was looking for her mother. They weren't blood relatives. Annie had learned that her mother once worked as a nanny in this house, and she came to see if there was any news about her mother. But Paul, who hadn't been home in years, didn't know much about what had happened in the house. During dinner at a restaurant, Paul finally revealed why he resented his father. After his father left without a word years ago, Paul had considered himself an orphan. Annie was a translator who had been drifting around for years, and her greatest wish was to find her birth mother. So Annie decided to seek out Paul's father to get information about her mother. To understand why his father had abandoned him back then, Paul and Annie embarked on a journey together to find the truth. After Annie discovered Paul's identity online, she couldn't believe that the person sitting next to her was actually a famous writer. What surprised her even more was finding her mother's diary in Paul's bag. Reading her mother's notes helped Annie understand her mother's situation back then. Annie's mother had gotten pregnant out of wedlock, and Paul's family had taken her in. But after her mother left, they lost contact. The next day, after passing through a tunnel, they finally reached their destination. Looking at the small cabin before him, Paul realized that his father had moved into the mountains alone after leaving. Through the trees, Paul could see someone chopping wood in the distance. A neighbor had told his father that his son was coming to see him, so the father had started making a Christmas tree early, knowing that Paul had always looked forward to Christmas as a child. The two men moved the cut Christmas tree into the house. His father tried to make amends with Paul,